Okay, so this is the overview of my next bookshelf. It is a 9-cube closet-made shelf that I got at Lowe's, and I really like it. I like the cubes. So I'm going to go into this. The top 3 shelves are my dystopian books, so I will go over those first, and each cube has, they're sorted by type. Okay. Matched by Ali Condi. I got this at Ollie's for $1.99 and it's signed, so that was exciting. The Dead by Charlie Higson. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. Flashpoint by Nancy Kress. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Blood Crazy by Simon Clark. Flashback by Dan Simmons. The Uninvited by Liz Jensen. Feed by M.T. Anderson. The Children of Men by P.D. James. White Horse by Alex Adams. Nerve by Jeannie Ryan. Proxy by Alex London. Cruel by Jennifer Albin. And Thinner Than Thou by Kit Reed. Then we go to the next cube. I will move all my stuff. Variant by Robison Wells. The Unit by Ninny Holmqvist. Germ by Robert Liparulo. Incarceron and Safik by Catherine Fisher. Unwind by Neil Schusterman. Blindness by Jose Saramago. The Giver by Lois Lowry. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. The Healer by Rick Gibson. Safekeeping by Karen Hess. Starters by Lissa Price. I have Department 19 and Department 19 The Rising by Will Hill. No Safety in Numbers by Dana Laurent. The Unidentified by Ray Marie. Article 5 by Kristen Simmons. Slated by Terry. What's Left of Me by Kat Zhang. And Specials by Scott Westerfeld. Okay, the last dystopian shelf I have, Eve by Anna Carey. Divergent and Allegiant by Veronica Roth, and my son is reading Insurgent right now, so he has that one. Arena by Karen Hancock. Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. 1984 by George Orwell. After Days by Scott Medbury. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Reboot by Amy Tintera. The Program by Suzanne Young. The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. The Lost Girl by Sangu Mandana. The Selection by Kiera Cass. And Delirium by Lauren Oliver. Okay, the next shelf is my historical fiction cube. So this is where I keep all of my historical fiction books. I have a lot by Philippa Gregory. So the following are by Philippa Gregory. The Boleyn Inheritance. The Kingmaker's Daughter. The White Princess. The White Queen. The Red Queen. The Lady of Rivers. And The Constant Princess. Then I have Guilt by Catherine Longshore. Memoirs of Mary, Queen of Scots by Carol Lee Erickson. Wideacre by Philippa Gregory. Enchanted by Alethea Contis. I don't believe that this is historical fiction. It's kind of like a fairy tale, but it kind of reminds me of like princesses, and so that's why I put it in here. Milkweed by Jerry Spinelli. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. A Reliable Wife by Robert Gulrick. I have 3 books in the Lux series. Envy, Rumors, and the Lux, all by Anna Godberson. The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. A Bride Most Begrudging by Deanne Gist. And The Red Tent. Then I have 2 cubes that have young adult YA type books, so I will share those. If I Stay by Gail Forman. Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. I have The Invention of Hugo Cabret. I do not have The Dust Jacket. Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. The Julian Game by Adele Griffin. Amelia Ann is Dead and Gone by Kat Rosenfield. As I Wake by Elizabeth Scott. Getting Somewhere by Beth Neff. Blindsided by Priscilla Cummings. Winter Girls. and Speak by Lori Halse Anderson, All the Truth That's in Me by Julie Berry, Audition by Stasha Ward Kehoe, Living Dead Girl by Elizabeth Scott, and Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Little cube, and this is all young adult. I have nearly a complete manga series. This is a Christian manga series called Serenity. I got these for like 35 cents each from Christian book distributors, so really super cheap. But I have New Bad Girl in Town, Stepping Out, Basket Case, Space Cadet versus Drama Queen, Sunday Best, Choosing Change, and Girl Overboard. Crash Into Me by Albert Boris, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews, Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin, Ink by Amanda Sun, The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson, Jerk California by Jonathan Friesen, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer, and The Poison Diaries by Mary Rose Wood. And then there's another layer behind. Cut by Patricia McCormick, Lessons from a Dead Girl by Joe Knowles, Poison Ink by Christopher Golden, Zoe Letting Go by Nora Price. I have my 3 John Green books, Paper Town, An Abundance of Catherines, and Looking for Alaska. Less is More by Wendy Lawton, Rosebush by Michelle Hoffey, Dirty Little Secrets by C.J. Omalu, and The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. This cubby has kind of a little bit of a mishmash of books. It is by 2 different authors, V.C. Andrews and Tori Hayden. They are very different authors. Tori Hayden writes books about, she was a special education teacher, and she writes books about her experiences with children she worked with, and some of them had some serious issues, and they are amazing books. She is definitely one of my favorite authors. She is the reason I went into the field that I'm working in, and these books are amazing. I guess they're technically nonfiction, but they read like fiction, and I would absolutely recommend them. They're older, but they're wonderful. So I'm going to show you. The covers are horrible. This is Murphy's Boy, Somebody Else's Kid, Ghost Girl, One Child. This is my favorite. I read this in high school, and this probably is one of the most influential books of my life because this is the one that persuaded me to want to work with children someday. And The Tiger's Child. I used to have almost all of her books, and I loaned several out, and you know how that goes. So they're not in my collection anymore. I need to reacquire them at some point. But those are those. And then I have V.C. Andrews, The Orphan Chronicles. This is a bind-up that has Butterfly, Crystal, Brook, and Raven. My Flowers in the Attic trilogy, or not trilogy, series, except for one, they do not have the dust jackets. I don't know why, but I have Flowers in the Attic, Petals on the Wind, Seeds of Yesterday, If There Be Thorns, and Garden of Shadows. This is a standalone, My Sweet Audrina. And then I have the Heaven series, another really good series. There's Heaven, Dark Angel, Fallen Hearts, Gates of Paradise, and Web of Dreams. Lastly, I have the Dawn series. I have Dawn, Secrets of the Morning, and these aren't called the Dawn series. I believe this is the Cutler series because her last name was Cutler, but I think of it as the Dawn series. Twilight's Child, Midnight Whispers, and Darkest Hour. And these ones I just saw, have those really haunting pictures on the back. That's the only thing I really liked about the mass markets is they had like a peekaboo cover, and you would see the creepy family photo in the back, and you can see it's like totally creepy. So these are my 3 favorite series of the V.C. Andrews books. And then I tried reading some of the newer ones, and I just could not get into them. So Dawn, Heaven, and Flowers in the Attic are my favorite. Okay, this next one is a combination of sci-fi and maybe some fantasy paranormal thrown in there. I don't read a lot of paranormal or sci-fi, probably the least of all the books, all the genres I read, but I'm going to try to get more into them. So I will show these. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Star Crash by Elisa Hendrick. Need by Carrie Jones. Deep State by Walter John Williams. 172 Hours on the Moon by Johann Harstead. Harbinger by Sarah Wilson Etienne. Origin by Jessica Khoury. The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis in a complete bind-up. It's a really big, heavy book. Dust by John Francis Turner. A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Got this for 10 cents at my library. I am going to attempt to read it. The Host by Stephanie Meyer. The Across the Universe trilogy by Beth Revis. Across the Universe. A Million Suns. And Shades of Earth. And I have the Gemma Doyle trilogy by Libba Bray. A Great and Terrible Beauty. I think these covers are gorgeous. I normally don't like people on covers, but I just think they're so pretty. Rebel Angel. And The Sweet Far Thing. And the last cubby in my bookshelf, this is mostly paranormal, I believe. Handling the Undead by John Ajvidi Lindqvist. I have the Wolves of Mercy Falls trilogy, but I guess it's not a trilogy anymore. I think it's a series now. But anyway, it's all by Maggie Stiefvater, and it's Shiver, Linger, and Forever. 2 of the Slayer Chronicles books by Heather Brewer. Number 1, First Kill, and number 2, Second Chance. The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson, and The Madness Underneath by Maureen Johnson. The Pack by Jason Starr. The Fetch by Laura Whitcomb. Blood Oath by Christopher Farnsworth. I have 2 books in the Vampire Academy series, Vampire Academy and Frostbite by Rochelle Mead. The Hallowed Ones by Laura Bickle. The Immortal by Ilo Roke. Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Plain Fear Forsaken by Leanna Ellis. And The Wolf Gift by Anne Rice. And so that is it for bookshelf number 2. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with part 3 in a bit.